Why do we love? A philosophical inquiry. A romantic love, beautiful and intoxicating, heartbreaking and soul-crushing, often all at the same time. Why do we choose to put ourselves through this emotional grind? Is love a life meaningful? Or is it escape from our loneliness and suffering? Is love the kind for our sexual desire, or a trick of our logic to make us creative? It is all we need. Do we need at all? If your romantic love has a purpose, neither science or psychology have discovered yet. But over the course of history, some of the respected philosophers have put forward to some trigger theories. Love makes us whole again. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato explored the idea that we love in order to become complete. In his Symposium, he wrote about dinner party in which Aristotle comically writer regards with the following story. Humans are one creature with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces. One day they argue the gods, and Zeus sliced them all in 2. Since then, every person has been missing half of him or herself. Love is a longing to find a soulmate who will make them feel whole again, or at least the one Plato intriguing comedian would say at a party. Love triggers is having babies. Much later, German philosopher Otto Schopenhauer maintains that love based on sexual desire was a voluptuous illusion. He suggests that we love because our desire leads to a belief in another person will make us happy, but we are sorely mistaken. Nature is tricking us into a proceeding and loving fusion we need is consummated in our children. When our sexual desire is satisfied, we are thrown back into our tormented existence, and we succeed only to maintain the species and perpetuate cycle of human drudgery. Sounds like somebody needs a hug. Love escape from our loneliness. According to Neil Pryor's winning British philosopher Eventually Russell, we love in order to quench our physical and psychological desires. Humans are designed to procreate, but without the escape of passionate love, sex is unsatisfying. Our fear of cold, crucial world, time of spilled hard shells, protects and isolates themselves. Love, delight, enthusiasm, and warmth helps us overcome our fear of the world, escape our loneliness hell, engage more abundance in life. Love achieves our whole being, making the best thing in life. Love is misleading affliction. Siddhartha Gautama, he became known as Buddha or the light as well, probably would have some interesting argument with Russell. Buddha proposed that love because we are trying to satisfy our basic desire. Yet, our passionate craving are defects. And attachments, even romantic love, are a great source of suffering. Luckily, Buddha discovered the Eightfold Path, a sort of program for extinguishing the fire of desire, so that we can reach the one and the enlightened state of peace, clarity, wisdom, and compassion. The novelist Charles Kant illustrates this Buddha's sentence that romantic love is falling is one of China's greatest classical novels, Dream of Red Chamber. In a subplot, Zhao Wei falls in love with Si Fang, who tricks and humiliates him, conflicting emotions of love and hate, tearing him apart. So a Taoist gives us magic mirror that can cure it, as long as he doesn't look at the front of it. But of course, he looks at the front of it. He sees the Si Fang. His soul enters the mirror and is dragged away in iron chains to die. Not all Protestants think the way about romantic and eros love, but the moral of this story is that such attacks must spell tragedy and should, along with the magic mirrors, be avoided. Love lets us reach beyond ourselves. Let's end on a slightly more positive note. The philosopher Monet proposed that love is desire to integrate with another and that the futures of love with meaning. However, she was less concerned with why we love and more interested in how we can love better. She saw the problem with traditional romantic love as can be so complicated that we are tempted to make our own reason for being. Yet, dependence on others to justify our existence easily leads to boredom and power games. To avoid this trap, But while advice loving ancestry, which is more like a great friendship, lovers support each other to discover themselves, reaching beyond themselves, and reaching their life and the world together. Though we might never know why we fall in love, we can be certain that it will be emotional roller coaster ride. It's scary, exhilarating, it makes us suffer and makes us soar. Maybe we lose ourselves, maybe we find ourselves. It might be heartbreaking or it might just be the best thing in life. Will you dare to find out? One more. Romantic love, beautiful and intoxicating, heartbreaking and soul-crushing, often all at the same time. Why do we choose to put ourselves through its emotional waiting? Does love make our life meaningful? Or it is an escape from our loneliness and suffering? Is love disguised for our sexual desire or a trick of biology to make us procreate? Is it all we need? Do we need it at all? If romantic love has a purpose, neither science nor psychology has discovered yet. But over the course of history, some of the most respected philosophers have put forward some intriguing theories. Love makes us whole again. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato explored the idea with love in order to become complete. In his Symposium, he wrote about dinner party in which Aristotle, a common playwright, with Gates with the following story. Humans were once creatures with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces. One day they angered the god, and Zeus slayed them all in 2. Since then, every person has been missing half of him or herself. Love is the longing to find a soulmate we will make them feel whole again. Or at least that's Plato believed the drinking comedian would say at a party. Love tricked us into having babies. Much later, German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer maintained that love, based on sexual desire, was a intellectual illusion. He suggests that we love because our desire leads us to believe that the other person will make us happy, but we are sorely mistaken. Matter is shrinking into procreated, and the loving fusion we seek is consummated in our children. When our sexual desire is satisfied, we are thrown back into our tormented existence, and we succeed only in maintaining the species and perpetuate the cycle of a human drudgery. Sounds like somebody's heart. Love is escape from our loneliness. According to Nobel Prize-winning British philosopher Bertrand Russell, we love in order to quench our physical and psychological desire. Humans are designed to procreate, but without the excuse of passionate love, sex is unsatisfied. Our fear of cold, cruel world tempts us to hardship, protects and isolates themselves. Love, delight, intimacy, and warmth help us overcome our fear of the world, escape our lonely child, engage more abundantly in life. Love enriches our whole being, making the best thing in life. Love is mistaken affliction. Siddhartha Gautama, who became known as the Buddha of the Enlightened One, probably would have the same interesting argument with Russell. Buddha proposed we love because we are trying to satisfy our base desire. Yet, our passion's craving are defects. And attachments, even romantic love, are a great source of suffering. Luckily, Buddha discovered the Eightfold Path, a sort of program for extinguish the fire of desire to obtain which normal and enlightened peace, clarity, wisdom, and compassion. The novelist Charles which illustrated Buddha's sentiments that romantic love is folly in one of China's greatest classical novels, Dream of the Red Chamber. In a subline, John Ren fell in love with Xi Feng, who tricked and humiliated him. Conflicting emotional love and hate tear him apart. So a downward expands a magic mirror that can cure him as long as he doesn't look at the front of it. But of course, he looks at the front of it. He sees Xi Feng. His soul enters the mirror and he is dragged away in iron chain to die. Not all Buddhists think the way about romantic and erotic love, but the moral of this story is that such a text must spell tragedy and should, along with magic mirrors, be avoided. Love lets us reach beyond ourselves. Let's end up the slightly more positive note. The French philosopher Raymond Defoe proposed that love is desire to integrate with another and is the infusion love with meaning. However, she was less concerned why we love and more interested how we can love better. She saw the problem with traditional romantic love is it can be so captivating where it tends to make it only reason for being. Yet dependence on others to justify our existence usually leads to boredom and power games. To avoid this track, Beauvoir advised loving authentically, which is more like a great friendship. Lovers approach each other, discovering themselves, reaching beyond themselves, and reaching their life and their world together. Though we might never know why we fall in love, we can be certain that it will be emotionally roller coaster ride. It's scary, exhilarating, it makes us suffer and makes us soar. Maybe we lose ourselves, maybe we find ourselves. It might be heartbreaking or it might just be the best thing in life. Will you dare to find out?